Audio check, ladies and gentlemen. Just checking the audio. Pedro and I will be with you in just a moment. Audio check, check. Audio check, check. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting the world started here. Today I brought the scroll bar back, but it disappeared. It disappeared. There it is. It's back, ladies and gentlemen. It's back, and this is as good as time ever. Let's get... Day was good. I made a few bucks trading. A couple of my little Bitcoin trades made my little bit amounts of money that I've been trading. And then one of those altcoins, SEI, that has been pumping over the last week, decided to say, we want all that money that pumps to come on out. And so I saw that happening, and I put on a little short, and I just let it ride, and it rode it down, and I made 80 bucks. 80 whole dollars on a trade that I put about 12 bucks into. So
that's going down, correct?
Yeah, as a short, it was just doing it went stupid up. It just went up for like, it printed, I think, for 18 hours in a row.
Just green
up candles. So you know it's going to go down. So once it started going down and watching it, and then the general sentiment on the internet was it's going down. So I took a small trade, and it was just one of those things. The other week I had done that going up, just kept moving my stop up, and this time I just kept moving the stop down. So it was a good week for me trading. My little account that I started with has doubled in the past 7 days or so of trading. I have more than that, 10 days. Yeah. 10 days or so.
2 weeks, yeah.
And I do fully admit half of that is from, or not half, but a good chunk of it is from outsized type things that are those home runs that we were talking about, Pedro. From.
But no, it's actually not. It's not. So, like I said, you'll have about 1 or 2 home runs a week, and then the rest will be singles and doubles. And so, you're playing the statistics. So you had 2 good home runs last week, and you had about 2 good home runs this week.
That's true, and a whole bunch of, I would say, singles. Didn't have any triples, didn't have any doubles. And in analysis of it, Pedro, what I thought was interesting was I've, because I'm journaling all of this,
yeah.
I kind of found an interesting thing. I'm wildly profitable. Let me rephrase that. My ratio of winning trades is very high. It's almost 80%. Now, okay, that I was like, okay, what's wrong with that? That's too high for a new person like me. What I realized is that
new though.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me get this thought out. What I have I'm using a little different terminology than other people. Now, in my mind is telling me anything that's green on my chart's a winning trade, right? However, I have very few trades that actually play out in that 1 to 3 range that I've been using. And I put it on, and it goes, it makes my original take profit thing. Only probably 2 of 38 trades actually played out to that. And almost all of them I've taken profits beforehand because I'm biased to think the market's going to crash. I better take some profits. And so I still have, remember before I talked about how I still don't really have the ability to see further out in the market past, the short time frame. And that's a skill that I have to learn, right? And so I found that to be interesting looking through my journal, is that very few of my trades are true winning trades in which your plan plays out as you've set it up. And so that was a revelation for me. So while I'm profitable, I am wildly under profitable because I can't see the further. I don't. No, let me rephrase that. The word "can't" is right. I'm not yet seeing.
There you go.
The ability to. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I don't trust the market to go to my plan yet. If it says if I get in at Bitcoin at 105,000 and my take profits at 106,005, but it gets to 105,007 and I'm up, 40%. My bias is like, the market's going to dump. I better just take this. Right. And that's also one of the reasons why I'm biased to screw around with my stop loss and mess around with it, because I know if I don't take that profit, the market's going to come down and take my stop loss. And that's a bias I need to work out by learning how to read the markets a little further. So we'll talk about that as the weeks come up, as these little revelations that Pedro bugs you about to journal your trades. It taught me something over this week. While in my mind, I had a very successful week, and then really in my mind, it showed us that we had, that I had a gap in knowledge. But Pedro, guess what?
What's up?
Right at the beginning of this show, you have a cup of coffee there, Pedro, by the way?
Yeah, you know what it's called? It's called 1776.
I think 1775 coffee.
Excuse me, 1775 coffee.
250 years ago, our great country of the United States of America got all kinds of stuff done, and we're celebrating this year. Our army was created 250,000 years ago. 250 years ago. We set in motion the plan to. I might point out our army was created before our country was created. Our army's created before the country. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a coffee drinker, and even if you're not, you should try. But if you've still not tried 1775 coffee, now's your shot. 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units have been created here for this special sale, and you should get in on it. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact checker, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash at all. No. You also get a gold spoon clip. Why, Pedro?
Why?
Because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, ladies and gentlemen. No. Look, I'm reading this ad as Trump is speaking. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler that says, "I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch." No. I don't even have to read this anymore. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Go to 1775coffee/studio. Grab your starter kit before they're gone. As always, you can click this QR code that's sitting right up here in the stream here. Click that. Even if you're just watching and you don't plan on buying it right now, click it. Bring that ad up into your browser, their webpage into your browser. It's really interesting. They talk about a lot of their coffees, and it lets them know that our viewers here are interactive, so they keep doing this for us. Anyway, 1775 Coffee, thank you for helping with DYOR Media. All right, Pedro, let's get into the show here. Pedro, what has been going on with Bitcoin here today? And then we'll talk about the week. Oops, that's the wrong button here. Talk about how the week played out in Bitcoin and hopefully what's going to happen next week.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check it out here real quick. So we got a few things happening. One, again, we have some major drop off in volume. Yesterday, we had, you talk about, just look at the volume here. This is weekend volume. This is the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Look at this right here. Look at this. We actually have less volume, right, than we're having on the weekends.
Wow. Yeah,
yes.
Look at that volume.
And so as you're paying attention to this is just suspicious to me.
Frank's gonna dump.
Suspicious. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro is on a bouncing ball, and that's why he does that thing. And why, even though he's one of the whitest men I know, the man can put in a little bounce and moves there, because that ball is doing it for him on a beat.
Whitest men, what are you talking about? I'm Mexican, dog.
You got a white shirt, you got white skin up there. I'm just generalizing, as I tend to do.
Bro, you just hurt my feelings. I'm leaving. My heart.
Look at this, I'm darker than you. Hola, ¿cómo está? ¿Dónde es el baño? El baño es allí. Ah. It's my Spanish.
There you go. But either or, What was I gonna say? Now I got thrown off. I was just joking. Oh yeah, Bitcoin. So we're having super low, like weekend formal, like just it's bad, man. The volume here is dead. So I'm expecting something to happen, and it's very suspicious. Suspicious. Anyways, so back in my days of dancing, when I used to dance and break dance and all that other stuff, like ballets, jazz, modern, all that cool stuff, tap for a little bit. You can see here that we might start tapping down. We're already putting in this little spot. Either we're going to scream up and we're going to see this bear market, or this sideways market peak, and we're going to get going, or we're going to go down. My guess is we're going to come down. And so they're holding off, they're putting their positions, and it's going to go down. So hopefully we go down to the first part of the week, and then we come down here to these lower levels. And then from there, we see a big increase, and this is really what starts the bull market for the altcoins, which we will all become filthy rich. But more importantly, to be able to be paying attention to what's actually happening here and the correlation between what is happening and potential moves. Now, my guess is that we're going to see it drop down for the week. From here, we're going to come down hopefully into next week right here, like we saw, and tap this area here. Come down, tap this area here, and then we're going to see it go up. And then hopefully see it really get up to the see Bitcoin get up to.
That was a good effort at not trying to draw the sausage and berries there.
Yeah. Too much of a sausage party over here. We don't need that. So on the back end as well, what I'm looking for is two main things over the weekend. If we see, like, and we talked about this, if we see some bad news come out, I'm expecting us to really kind of see a drop here. So expect that. Don't be thinking, you know, we're going to keep going up. But if we see strong volume come into this market and we see it continue up, we should see some major profit coming in then. But again, as of right now, it looks like it's rolling over. You can see here the nice little rollover here. Made a lower low right here. And so we're going like this to do this. And then hopefully we see it come back up into these areas here. So, all right, that's in initial for Bitcoin. What I'm looking at, I don't even, tells you so much. I don't think we're going to go up this weekend. I just don't. We were lower low on this candle today, which then is telling you like they went through, they pulled the liquidity, or they pushed it up to go down. So to me, that's what I'm really looking at to see if we're going to continue that. So that's it in a nutshell for me. What's up with you, Tom? What do we have?
I was just doing a little social media in the background while you're doing that, and you did that a little faster than I thought.
Oh, keep going. I can actually go over something else here real quick because I wanted to go over Ethereum here real quick. So,
yeah. Go ahead and do that. Let me keep doing my little social media.
That's all good. So we will take off some of these. So we came and played off this area. We're playing with Ethereum. Ethereum is showing a little more strength. Still, we have really low volume coming in for trading, which makes the market again squishy. But if you're looking to go long here, I'm more advent to go long with Ethereum than I am with Bitcoin. Granted, if we see a major sell-off in Bitcoin, we should see a pullback with Ethereum, but I definitely like Ethereum where it's sitting right here. Now, obviously, everybody should say there's a big seller wick there, Pedro. What's going on with that? And you're right. So, again, we could see a sell-off. If we do see a sell-off, I would guess we're going to play somewhere off of this 200 or 100 pair moving average, which would be about right here at the level of that 2158 here, as you can see. So with that said, you can sit there and play off of that and say, all right, this is maybe an area that I want to be potentially buying. It's what I'm looking at. It's my opinion. It's not financial advice, but I'm definitely just looking at that area and seeing where we're going to probably bounce off of. Now, the other part, you want to be really careful. If we start to see a sell-off below this point here, it's nothing but down after this point. And this is actually a good area that we could potentially take advantage of a play here, though, because below this area is going to be liquidity. So this is going to be a short-term play that we all expect. Basically, as the market comes down into this level here, right? Again, you're going to go to the smaller time frames, and you're going to play that area and expect money, right? Meaning the money hits the area into here, right? We'll probably close below here. Then you go to the 5-minute, and you wait for the market to get above the 8-period moving average with volume, similar to what we saw right here, right? We look at that, or 15-minute. Okay, so if I no longer get 5, there you are. Just in this situation here, get above the 5 with volume. Not the best volume, but you can see if we had good volume right here on this one, so you could have gone in on this one. Boom, get in, wait for the retest, capture it all the way up here. You're going to grab the local low here, which would be about right here, and all you're looking for is a 1-to-1, right? Boom. So you can see right here, we hit more than a 1-to-1. You take off 60% of that trade to 70% of that trade, and then after that, you wait for it to continue higher, and as you see, the market went higher. So this is for Ethereum. This would have been a good play for you. As Tom says, you would just keep moving your stop up to old lows. So the higher lows is where you would put your stop at, and then from there, just continue to go up. So what's going on, bud?
Oh, when I hit a certain key, it unmutes the YouTube feed in the studio, without that browser even being up. So I kept trying to track that down. Yeah, it's not feeding back to you; it's feeding back to me.
I got you.
Very strange. Pedro, is volume doing the same thing here on ETH as it did on BTC?
Yeah, we still see a very low volume here. It's pretty scarce. You can see this is it right here. But we've seen that now for the last 2+ weeks here now with Ethereum.
Wow.
Not as much, but it's still.
I mean, that's a big difference, Pedro. You've got some big green and red candles back there, which is whether they're green or red doesn't matter. Volume is good.
Yeah.
And volume low like this after big highs. I mean, I'm not that experienced with this, but this tells me very small market makers will be able to influence the market and dump it, or one or two big ones and say, that's it, I'm done today, I'm going to the Hamptons and the Jersey Shore, boop, and drop a lot of volume on it and dump the crap out of it.
Yeah.
The Big Short. The Big Short is at play today, Pedro.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to see the full aspect of this, how it's actually going to play. I think what's the word I want to use? I think we're going to see a big sell-off here for Bitcoin. Ethereum, not so much, because we have more volume here than we see in Bitcoin. So people are definitely buying a little bit more of Ethereum. But ultimately, I think we do see a big play here that we could take advantage of. So that's why I'm looking more at Ethereum than I am at Bitcoin right now. Now, granted, I'm always buying Bitcoin, right? Every week, I buy a little bit of Bitcoin every week. It's part of my strategy. I have 5 or 6 main plays that I use. So it's just one of those things that I think everybody should do. Dollar cost average, as I tell everybody, dollar cost average, small amounts every single week, or if every month, whatever you do it on, just make sure it's consistent a period. And additionally to it, also save some extra powder for when we have big dumps, so that you can buy in at these low points, right? And I give you guys good little turning points to be able to take part in on those dumps, right? Like we've talked about potential Ethereum coming back down to that 150, or excuse me, the 1500 area. And if it does, that's going to act as a nice little play.
Yeah, I'd have to say that a couple of my trades that worked out well over the past 2 weeks have been on the reversals, opening up a trade after the dump, plugging it in and saying there's got to be a retracement after this, or it doesn't have to be, but and they worked out fairly well. A couple of times on the air, Pedro, when I've said, "Hey, Pedro, I'm in a long. I'm up $7." You know, that's been on a reversal. And one of which I believe, I don't remember which one it was one of the ones that came right down into your zone that when I looked at the chart was like a previous low, you know, wick down previous low. And I put the order in just before that, and it hit and went up. Just as Pedro teaches. I'm going to bring my screen up for a second here, back on BTC.
Absolutely. I also want to go over some of those mid cap to small cap coins that we were looking at last week.
Right.
Plays. Yeah, but we.
I just wanted to point out that before this show started, Pedro and I were talking, and I said, you know, I've got that feeling of a dumpity dump, and it wasn't just like a gut feeling, because in trading, generally, I found my overall gut feeling. The market eats that up. You got to follow your rules and have a plan. But what Pedro teaches, and what I've come to learn, is in any period that you track on a Monday through Friday basis, if it does one thing at the beginning of the week, it does the other thing at the end of the week, as people take profits or get out of losing trades or whatever it is. And this chart here, you can see this big green candle here. It says weekly open on the blue line attached to it. We've traded above the weekly open all week. We've traded high above it. We have not come down to test it. We haven't come anywhere near it. It's just been up. What chart do I have up there? The daily chart? Yeah, I have the daily chart open there. And we've been up every day except one, and even that day we didn't even really go down. Just didn't go. It just closed down a little bit. And also we have the June low here. Pedro's kept me up on keeping an eye out for the monthly lows, because you know, and where we open at the beginning of the month, because you open it one way at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month you're going to do the opposite. And so we haven't even come anywhere near any of that. And I realize in rising markets, you leave those things in the dust anyway, right? If it's a bull run, or if it's even just trending up for months and not a bull run, you leave all that stuff in the dust. You forget about your weekly open, you go up, you go up, you go up. But if you look at the chart here, even a new guy like me can say, well, we're not exactly in a massive uptrend here. I mean, we're just, you know, and Pedro keeps saying there's a lot of liquidity down here. So I just had that feeling that the dog was going to bark.
And right on.
Right on cue. But I just had that feeling, and Pedro's voice in the back of my head, and okay, we started up at the beginning of the week. It's probably going to go lower at the end of the week, according to what the teachings are from Confucius up here. But then, Pedro, you pointed out that volume thing, and if you look at all the past days there isn't that. You can hear the dog in my ear now on the stream, and that pattern isn't there. Even in the other dumps that they've had, or run ups, they haven't had that pattern. So I think something's up for today. So I'll pay attention to that today. Maybe, just maybe, Pedro, if it plays out as planned, we'll clip this clip out and we'll have some YouTube Shorts stuff.
Yeah, and we have a whole entire 6-hour video that we could clip out and send out. I mean, literally, post before and after. Those would actually be much bigger. A shout out and being able to sit there and go. Well,
we have a big crowd on Rumble, Pedro.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into Rumble today. We're going over the week in Bitcoin. Pedro is talking about what's to come next week as well. We just talked about Ethereum. If you have any questions, we'll gladly go over it again. Pedro, I do have a question about Bitcoin before you move on to the other coins that you want to talk about. While I was social mediaing, I missed where you were drawing the down area where you think it's going to go. What I missed on it was when you think. Is that just like a next week thing, next month, or is there going to be a longer downtrend, or is it just need a correction?
I think it's going to be just a quick correction. So I think within the next week, because we have such little volume right now that just sitting right here trying to go up, we can. You can see it's trying to go up, right? With Ethereum and or with Bitcoin, it's trying to go up. It can't. So I would expect it to come down first to pick up that liquidity, which is basically your stops down at the lower level. And what they're going to do is either pick up right here, and I would expect something like this next week or potentially 2 weeks, primarily because we have the end of the month and the beginning of the month. So typically people are getting out of their positions for this month, and they're going to get into their positions for next month. Because remember, the Ethereum contract also is traded on the CME contract. And so people get out of their trades on these certain things. And so it affects the spot price of actual Ethereum.
Right.
And you're like, how is that possible? Primarily because I can buy up. Like right now, if I want to buy on the spot, I would have to spend $2,400 to actually buy a spot coin. Whereas I can go to the CME and spend $500 and literally pick up 3 to 5 contracts, which is the equivalent of 3 to 5 coins.
Right.
And so I can parlay my money and really allow me to take advantage of these plays. And so this is where I'm saying is that this month we see a new contract coming in. We're going to see that play, and then hence see the next month play out. Whereas we're going to put in the demand wick, that is the bottom wick. This is what they call a demand wick, or a buyer wick is what I call it, and just to help them be more clear. And so
looks like a big fat swing low to me.
Yeah, but you would want to expect this to come down now. So hitting this area right here and then coming down, you can see that we have a doji for the week, but everybody knows that means indecision. Okay, and the reason why I'm more bullish is literally because this big bullish candle here had more volume than the past previous weeks, and you can see here that this past week's candle here, or this past month's candle, wasn't a lot of supply wick. I mean, there wasn't a lot of sellers in here. I mean, it was, but it was about 75% of the actual previous candle. So this is why I say I expect them. You would say, well, doesn't that mean it's going to go up because it's a bullish sentiment? Yes. But before they push it up, they would drop it first, come down at these levels, either here at this level, or they may come down even further and tap these levels to pull the liquidity from the stops. So when I say liquidity, I literally mean your stops or people's stops. And so they pull that. Those are going to be sellers, because if you're looking to go long, you would put your stop in as a sell buy or a sell position. Okay. And so as the market comes down, it stops you. As the market comes down, it stops you out. Those sells get initiated, and then from there, the institutions come in and buy those sells, hence causing them now to have the liquidity for them to actually push the market up. And so this is why I'm saying either right here there's liquidity, and right here there's liquidity. And so that's why I'm expecting us to go down first in the beginning of the month, and then to see it go up at the end of the month. And so that's what I'm expecting. We will see what happens. Just like we saw with this past month, we started low. This was this month, right? The beginning of this month of March, or excuse me, right here. Just like we saw right here with June, we went down first, up, and then we came down, right? And so this is where we're playing. This is the doji. We probably might finish it with a little higher high here, potentially. Not higher high, this is the wrong word. Like mid place right here. We we might finish it with it going up to this level where we see it get above this price right here, which would be, give me 1 second, open the 2540 area. We may just see just barely peak above it, make it go potentially green, but it's kind of I'm expecting it to go down first because it needs liquidity, because again, you can see right here on the weekly chart, there's just no volume here. They don't have anybody to actually buy from. I mean, look at this. It's dead. It's absolutely dead.
It's dead. Dead. So interesting that it's dead. But I'm going to hit this bell here, Pedro. You know what that means?
Yes, it's time to talk about something else.
Right, that's our that's our sound we're using for to notify everyone that an advertisement is incoming.
Alrighty.
Seemingly all the good podcasts. Yeah, go ahead.
Before he starts, please click on that link. That helps us out so much. Go ahead, bud.
All right, here, let me get the, hold on, something's not right here. Very interesting here. Just having a little trouble launching it. It's been a little picky lately. And that is a mess.
Well, Tom, go ahead.
They get this right. Hold on, I'm coming here. I'm going to hit the continue button now.
There we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time again. If you're looking for a great place on news and let me phrase that. If you're looking for a great place online for news and discussion and entertainment, then check out Truth Social, Donald Trump's social media website. You'll get breaking news stories and commentary from top media figures. If you want to see Trump's legendary Truth Social posts, then get on Truth Social today. Join a growing community of patriots on a free speech platform designed to avoid censorship and cancellation by big tech. Make your voice heard, join the movement, join Truth Social. And for those of you who don't know, ladies and gentlemen, DYOR Media has a Truth Social account. We post the show schedules on it, what's coming up, discuss interesting topics that are trending on Truth Social. Generally, when we cover something on our show, at some point, it's covered in social media. So if I like to repost the links to the show and have a discussion with people on Truth Social to get them to come, to realize that Pedro and I are correct. But also to get them to come view the show. So Truth Social is a good place to do that. Because Pedro and I like to talk about politics and regulation and that type of stuff. And as you might suspect, Donald Trump's platform, Truth Social, is full of that kind of talk. Anyway, thank you very much to Truth Social and sponsoring our show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Truth Social. Truth Social. Appreciate you guys. All right, guys. So right now, my stomach is really acting up. So I'm gonna have to actually go and take care of some business here real quick. All right,
I'm gonna talk about the market here and talk about the big short I'm about to put on for thousands of dollars. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, there was I skipped my news that I wanted to talk about at the beginning of the show, and had a listing of that. Let me turn Pedro's mic off there. One of the things I wanted to talk about, BTC, we had a good week. We had a good week in BTC, up all week. And I wanted to reiterate what Pedro mentioned here, is that volume is really low. And so what's going to happen? Are we going to dump here? Or are we going to keep pumping this week? And just like, if you recall, on Sunday, we had a little bit of a dump on Friday of last week. Because last Monday, we went up a lot, traded up went up a lot and then came down, but then traded up some more. And then on Friday, had a small dump. And then on Sunday, we had a really big one as people prepared for Asia to come on and took us down a lot. And then on Monday, we went up. And I realize that's a lot of up, down, turn around, off, jump around type stuff. But it does follow that pattern. Follows that pattern. If we're up on Monday, we're going to dump on Friday. So I got to keep an eye out for that. Pedro and I briefly started talking about it, but didn't get into it that much, is the S&P 500. S&P 500 and Nasdaq pushing new highs again, pushing them up. And even the old contract I used to work on way back in the day that used to be called the knife, which is now called the ICE, as a futures index on the New York Stock Exchange listings, that's pushing all-time highs now too. Interestingly enough, I used to work on the New York Futures Exchange a long time ago, which after it moved from the floor of the stock exchange to the Commodities Exchange in 4 World Trade Center, in the old World Trade Centers, it was very popular. It was a big arbitrage contract between the S&P 500 and the New York Stock Exchange in general. And then that exchange got bought by the Coffee Sugar Cocoa Exchange. No, the U.S. Cotton Exchange. And then it got bought by the Coffee, or merged with the Coffee Sugar Cocoa Exchange. And then it got turned into the New York Board of Trade. And now it's whatever ICE stands for that. Anyway, it's an interesting contract. It's also at its highs. All these things are at its highs, yet volume is really low. I haven't looked at the volume on Nasdaq. Need to check that out to see if the volume is also following the same pattern as Bitcoin and Ethereum. But regardless, generally when volume is low, it means smaller people have an outsized influence on the market. And those smaller people that want to close their positions out, like hedge funds, small hedge funds, will have a huge influence on it. Let's see, let's hit to the charts over here. Not that chart, this chart. Why is it so slow? Slow. So can this continue? Can this this multi-day run-up continue? We're at 107. If you look at Bookmap, thanks to Crypto Lifer for getting me hooked up with Bookmap. I used your link, Sam, to join Bookmap, but it tells you if my computer was strong enough to run that at the same time, I'd bring it over. It shows that there's liquidity and stops, sell orders all the way up to 109, very strong. There's been a big one at 109 all week. It's been acting like a magnet. A magnet, my friends, pulling everything up. Let's get some lo-fi going here. Let me make sure that everything's running fine here. Thanks to everyone watching us. I really appreciate it. The good crowd we have here on this Friday. Pedro is off on a bio break, as they say, right now. We've got 21 of you watching on Rumble. Thanks a lot. This is an interactive show, ladies and gentlemen. Pedro and I do a good job of answering people's questions. Pedro is an experienced trader for the past, 15 years or so. I am a brand new one. Worked in the futures markets a long time ago, as I was just saying. But as far as day trading, I've been listening to Pedro talk for a couple years now in this show, but never took his advice or tried to get my skills up. And I listened to Pedro. I've joined Crypto Lifers group to learn also, to have a community to talk about soon. Maybe someday we'll have that community. But they're a very big day trader community type stuff. And I had Sam on our show a long time ago too. So I've always kind of been a fan of that, but I don't, neither me nor Pedro trade in that manner. Maybe someday I will be a volume day trader making the big trades. But anyway, right now I'm just learning. I'm just learning, and so I like to talking about this stuff on the air is big for me. I still have the Ethereum price up yet. I got the Bitcoin chart up. You guys got to remind me when I do dumb things like that. Anybody? Welcome everybody. Let's drop a comment. Welcome to everybody watching us on X. Thanks for joining us on X. Rumble's been best to us lately, with YouTube derating us for some reason, and I don't know why. Anyway, so what is my idea, my new person idea, that the Bitcoin's going to go down at the end, ultimately go down at the end of the week, even though we've seen it go up $1,000 from 106.3 today. I'm sorry, 106.3 to 107.3. I just have that feeling with the low volume and the end of the week pressure for the sell, for it to come back all the way down. In fact, when I was setting up a short, which you can see here, setting up at the price action of the time I was doing it at 11 o'clock, prices come up a lot for that. So we'll change where that short would start. If it were to start coming down, I would pick for it to start, get into it under another low, maybe right about there under that low, and then ride it down to 102. How about that? That would be a big $5,000 sell-off today. Would be a big sell-off. It would be very interesting. Oh, here's that ICE contract. The Intercontinental Exchange. Intercontinental. This is the I don't know what the right word is. It's the new version of what I used to work on, the NYFE, New York Futures Exchange, index of the New York Stock Exchange. And that's what this is. And you can see it started, I have the monthly chart up or something like that. Monthly chart. It started way over here at $6 a contract. And now it's $182 a contract. Which is very interesting because it's at its highs also. Oh, there you are, Pedro. Pedro's back in the seat. 1 second, Pedro. I got to get your camera back here and your microphone. All right, Pedro. I've got you back. What I was talking about while you were gone is if you recall, I used to work in New York, like I said, on the old New York Futures Exchange, which is now, after being sold by the New York Stock Exchange and morphed into other things, is the Intercontinental Exchange. And their index, too, which is called ICE, is at its highs.
Not
also,
to be confused with the other ICE.
You mean me, baby? Yo, ICE.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly.
Under pressure. Sorry.
You're going with ICE as in immigration.
That was good flip, though.
Right.
No pressure, though.
No, not at all. But anyway, this is at its highs also. And it's an index of the New York Stock Exchange, so obviously if the Dow is up and the S&P 500 is up and the Nasdaq is up, this would be up as well.
Absolutely.
But what I was doing is, you had pointed out, and I was hoping that you'd be able to answer this question, is the volume on Nasdaq or the S&P 500 showing a similar trend as BTC?
Absolutely.
Ooh. So that's down as well. Let me bring your chart up and get rid of mine here.
Yeah. So if you look at the futures are dying off. So you can look at the actual traditional market here, S&P 500. We're watching, this is the actual spot market itself, right? The cash index. You can see here, it's about average. You can see the blue line is the average of, it kind of shows the average here, as you can see, for the volume. So that's average here, but when you look at the volume of the future side, you can see we're seeing a huge
look at that. It's different than the spot by a lot. That's interesting.
Yeah, dramatic. So it's really interesting. And typically when you see something like this and you see the variances between the two, typically what that means is that people are putting in positions and they're waiting for it to turn around. So either a ton of people are going to get liquidated and it's going to continue higher, and then we're going to have an awesome bull run, let's go, right? Or we're going to see, most likely, and this is typically on average what happens, the market turns around and we see a sell-off. And so that's why I'm more apt to sit there and say that the market's going to turn around. If you look at the Nasdaq here, Nasdaq is looking the same way. If you look at the actual the Qs, I'll put in the Qs. Give me 1 second.
What's up? Sorry, I have a note to bring something up in a little bit. Good.
All right, perfect. So you can see here real quick that the market here is pushing up. But yeah, you can see I guess you can see on average, look at the volume here at the end of the day. We've been ranging about the same average, right? And this is the ETF that correlates with the Nasdaq. This is what most people normally trade. It's just smaller, it's easier to trade. You can also play options trade on this, so it's a lot easier. Forgive me guys, I don't mean to do this. But I'm gonna move this here so that it looks like I'm centered. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. You can see here that as this market is continuing up, if whether it goes down or go up, we're probably going to see the same amount of volume come in, right? You can see actually we've even seen a pickup in the actual hard asset compared to 2005 or the early part of 2005 and into last year. We actually have an increase in volume in the spot market within the ETF. You can see the volume did pick up pretty, looks like about 25% of it. So you can see up here versus down in here. And this would have been Biden's administration period. That's interesting. I never saw that. I glanced and I was like, oh wait, that's weird. So it's definitely look like people are buying the actual hard assets. But on the back, that's really loud in my ears, bud. So
is that better?
There, oh, so much. But now I have to hear your mic. I'm sorry.
You can hear that again. I don't understand that.
Me too. I don't understand as well. But you can see here that the market is moving up, though on the futures market, we're seeing a drop in liquidity substantially. There you go. Substantially. I'm messing it up again. At a great amount, you can see that there is a drop in the market here. So we're going to wait and see what happens. But I would expect to see, again, a pullback because we're not putting any demand wicks as we're moving up. And because of that, that's a huge indication that lets me know that we should see it drop off. And for that, I'm like, it's got to go up. Now, we did bounce off of the weekly 8-period moving average here. And we are finishing the month off as a grin. Here was the beginning of the month. And then boom, we saw it kind of sell off a little and then push back up. So we have a small demand wick for our monthly zone. So again, I'm hesitant to go long here because we're seeing a drop in volume. And today's the last day for this contract, as Tom was saying. So this is why I'm saying that I'm expecting it to drop off. I mean, look at where that's probably 25% of the average volume that we normally see with the Nasdaq on the monthly chart that we're not seeing. It's a pretty big deal. It's a really big deal. So that's why I'm more hesitant to sit there and say I can't go along with this rally. Now again, we're still going to go long as the market is moving up. We always go long. The market is always right? Even if fundamentally it's wrong, you're still going long because the market moves up. On the back end, it's one of those things that you just kind of have to keep in back of your mind saying this market could turn around any period in time, even though we're at all-time highs and the market is banging a second. This thing is like a runaway locomotive. It is going. Sooner or later, that runaway, somebody's got to get control of it. And in that, this is where I expected to see it turn around. One of the things we always look at, right, is like a lot of these movements, and we're still seeing the same circumstance happening with NVIDIA and a lot of the ones where we're seeing the drop in volume here. You can see drop in volume. Google, you can see drop in volume coming in. Same thing. Market move up, drop in volume for buyers. You can see Apple. Similar thing, drop in volume this week. You can see here it's consolidation. Look at Tesla. Tesla is seeing drop in volume over the same thing. These are all the things that control the Nasdaq. These are the top 10. They are about 30-40% of the actual market cap of the Nasdaq. And so you're seeing a drop in volume. In addition to it, there's a lot of stuff going on. Now, I think the strongest one out of that is probably Meta, because they have a lot of good stuff correlated with their Google glasses, or not Google glasses, excuse me, with the Meta glasses. And there's just a lot of stuff that they're doing that's pretty crazy with Llama and how their AI is kicking butt, taking names. It makes Meta more advantageous to buy. And so it looks like they are close to their all-time high, but I'm just not buying it. I just can't. I can't swallow, because if you look at the volume, seeing it drop. So that's why it's hard for me to sit there and say, you know what? I think we're going to go up, even though the buyers aren't necessarily there. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. How you doing, my friend? What's going on?
Oh, Pedro. As I said earlier, there was a host of Supreme Court rulings that came out, which apparently have been in Donald Trump's favor, because as a result, the market is pumping. The market pretty much supports the Trump administration right now because of its pro-business policies. But not all people are happy with it. And this is the person, I'm going to show a tweet here, of someone who's the vice president of the Democratic National Party. He's a very influential person, a big fundraiser for them. And this is his tweet today about it, if my screen ever comes up, from David Hogue, however you pronounce his name. He's a very progressive and very liberal person. He says, F the Supreme Court, F the Federalist Society, and F Mitch McConnell.
Wow.
Mitch McConnell really hasn't been in on this in a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
But anyway, the Supreme Court ruled for Trump in a number of places. The Federalist Society, our good guest Patrick Dougherty has been a 40-year member of the Federalist Society, and talks about their views all the time as just being something that's basic to the Constitution of the United States.
They stick to the Constitution. That's
Right.
like the whole entire point.
They say that we set up this country in a way, so let's follow it. And if you want to change it, use the Constitution to change it. Make an amendment, like we wanted to do away with slavery, got rid of that with amendments, and fought a war.
Okay. You said if you want to change it, what?
If you want to change it, there's a way to change the Constitution. You don't have to get all crazy. If you want to say, we want all these changes to the Constitution, well, there's a process. Follow it. Oh, it didn't work. Well, tough shit. But there's a way to do it. And, where Congress goes awry and makes bad law, that's unconstitutional, the courts are perfectly capable of going in there saying this isn't right, and that's what they do. They're doing that in a number of industries right now. The courts have been ruling predominantly that the government has overstepped its authority in many places. Many places it's done that. With the EPA, with agencies just making rules that the Congress never gave them the authority to do, all this type of stuff, and everyone's celebrating that. Yay, the court is reeling in the U.S. government, yay. And then over here, today, we've had some decisions which the court did the same thing. Said that it didn't do the same thing, made the same types of decisions saying, no, this is the authority given to the president. Or this is the authority that's reserved for Congress, but the president's not part of that. And now the people are like, the world is falling. The courts have done a good job in saying, where things are supposed to fall in our separation of powers. Yet then you get people like this who should be very politically correct, who should be professional people. And these are the ones leading the Democratic Party. And if you have, and I'm not trying to make this a partisan show, I'm trying to make this a show to say, if you're going to be a proper politician in this country, you must act like one. And I realize people don't think Donald Trump is a proper politician, but he's acting like a head of state, and he's acting like a politician trying to get his policies through.
Listen, that statement, bro, I would disagree with you, because Donald Trump has many times, not just once, but many a times, not acted like a head of state and acted like sometimes like a child. Now, again, I like Donald Trump and what he's doing. All right. I support in many of the things that he's done, but that statement there, like, this man is just simply parroting the attitude in which Donald Trump at the beginning of this week said they don't know what the F they are doing. He could have said so many other things. He could have simply said, yeah, they don't understand. They've been doing this for so long. They almost forgot the reason why they're even at war. He could have, it could have been done that way. And that would have been something that would have been okay. But his exaggeration of the cursing, right, is something that you cannot. This man is simply just parroting the vibe in which Donald Trump was just delivering. Again, I want to reiterate this. I like what Trump is doing. I'm very much in support of what he's doing with crypto, how he's reeling back all of the craziness that Biden established, and a lot of what was happening within just the scariness that they were trying to coerce and manipulate the American people, right? They're literally pulling that back and giving us a lot more freedom than what we originally had. So respect to that. But you can't sit there and say that. I would disagree with you, because you're saying he's supposed to act like a politician, and Donald Trump is the lead of everybody, and he sets the vibe in everything because he's the head.
There is I can see your point, because I have disagreed with many of the ways that Mr. Trump has acted over time. But the difference here is that Mr. Trump is leading a party that's wildly popular. And the Democratic Party currently is not very popular. And if you remember the episode from the Swamp Creatures about what can after getting beat in the election so badly, what can they do next? And Justin came out and did a poll, the popularity approval ratings of all the top Democrats. And because the Democrats were talking about Trump's approval rating at the time being like 40%. They're like, see, it's sinking, it's terrible, he's awful, got to get him out of there. And not a single Democrat polled above 10%. In the same type of popularity, same type of poll they do. Said not even one, not Chuck Schumer, not Nancy Pelosi, not David Hogue, not anybody, zero, AOC, all those people. And the reason is that the reason that Justin talked about on the Crypto Swamp Creature show.
With your voice.
My voice is again. Check 1 2 1 2. You there? You there?
Yeah, your voice is perfect. Oh my goodness, it's back again.
Hold on. I got the noise Pedro figured out, but I got my noise gate up too high. That should be better.
Amazing.
All right. What I was talking about is that the Democratic Party has very low ratings across the board, and what Justin spoke about was the part that many Democrats, including Mr. Hogue here, are activists.
Yeah.
And activists are doing, in the days of social media, are doing a great job getting their butts into Congress. AOC was an activist. That activist mentality, it generates social media. It generates people getting the eyeballs on the vote. And but they make very poor politicians, and because they're trying, when they get to Congress, you see them yelling and screaming and using the word dick and F you and this type of stuff also, and that doesn't generate new bills, new policies, and all that, because you have to ultimately compromise in Congress. And if you go in like a professional, Mr. Trump doesn't need to compromise because he's the head of an executive branch. But if you're in Congress, you need to be a political dancer and do your ballet and stuff like that in order to get things passed. And you don't do that by doing this type of stuff and F the Supreme Court, F the federal thing. And even the comments of his supporters are here saying, dude, how does this help our cause? You're making it hard to be a Democrat. This is a prime example of negative growth over time. The shock factor of talking like this when you were a teenager to grab attention worked. Now you're the DNC vice chair. It's professionally embarrassing. And there's bazillions of these comments in there from their own people. And it's, maybe it's a social media campaign. I don't know. But that's the point. The point is that if there's going to be professional discord and talks.
It's a decorum. I agree.
Right. There needs to be professional people. And you and I have brought up the example of Ronald Reagan and the old Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, arguing all day about stuff through their aides, in person, on then the early CNN type stuff. Then at the end of the day, going and getting, hey, I got the new scotch in at the bar down here. Let's go get a scotch. And
work it
Reagan
out.
And Tip O'Neill, different parties, would go work it out and that type of stuff. That doesn't happen anymore. God forbid CNN or Fox News, we would catch, two people of different parties having a drink. They'd be like, "Oh, traitor, traitor!"
Well, this is the beautiful part now, right? Is that we're seeing this disparity between the activist Democrat and then the common sense Democrat, right? Who's lean more towards a centralist, a Republican, right? Because the Democrat, is that your cell phone? Oh no. that the centralist Democrat, which was typically a Tip O'Neill type, was willing to work and interact. And so I agree with that aspect of what we're seeing. And I think that's where we need to see, and the American people want to see. Majority of America is not for child mutilation above the age.
Mrs. Striking's locked out. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Actually, while you're at that, go get her, and then I'm just going to go over news and we'll come back right to this. All right, guys, we're going to go over news here real quick, and then from there we'll jump back to our discussion here and then finish off with some of the meme coins that I've been looking at and paying attention to here, and then finish off at the end of the show with another Bitcoin, what it's going to do for the end of the month, and what I expect to see happen over the next couple of weeks. Okay, guys, so I'm actually pulling a lot of this stuff from Watcher Guru. You can pull this up. A lot of it is on point. Some of it's a hit and miss. So I'm just giving you guys heads up, but I just want to give you guys a be abreast with what's going on. European Union considers lowering tariffs on the U.S. imports. Wall Street Journal reports. President Trump says he officially signed a trade deal with China. We'll see. I think it's out there, but it's some of those things that we're seeing. Again, it's some of the stuff, like I said, but I want you guys to be paying attention to this. Publicly traded, I cannot see that, backed holding BAKKT holding says it may use $1 billion from shelf offer to buy Bitcoin, which would be cool. Especially when it adds some liquidity to the market. European Union says it's ready to make a trade deal with the US. Shocking. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says we're buying more Bitcoin every week. Next one, crypto czar David Sachs says July will be a big month. We've been talking about July here on the show for quite a while. So that's when I said I expect the next 6 months be ready as the market's coming down. And remember, I expect the market to come down first to go up. All right. So I would expect that if it just starts to continue up and we don't have any volume, be wary because they're probably going to sell on our heads. So be ready for that. We'll go over that probably over the next couple of weeks. Treasury Secretary Bessent says tariffs on China are now 30%, while China's tariffs on US are 10%. There you go. US gas prices are the best in 4 years, which we were going to go over that. Also, I forgot we were going to go over that. So we'll check that out today as well. So we can go check, we can explain what's actually happening and kind of see where we should see it basing. President Trump says critics of his tariffs should go back to business school. There you go. Mr. Trump says it. President Trump says Bitcoin takes a lot pressure off the dollar. I agree with that. We've talked about that here, especially with stable.
That's an interesting story to follow up on in the future.
Yeah, we will. Well, we talk about all the time that the stable coins as well as Bitcoin actually back the U.S. debt in a sense because you're able to actually build it with a capable asset. Well, capable is always I think it's capable because it's non-inflationary. You can put guards and rails on it, and you got to get 50+% for a consensus. And I mean, married couples can't even agree 50% of the time. So go with it. Great things for takes pressure off the dollar, and it's great. I refuse to get my glasses because I know my eyes are getting better. Great thing for our country. All right. President Trump calls Bitcoin amazing and says it's producing a lot of jobs. There you go. That's the rest of the quick little recap of the market. And Mr. Herlihy, ¿qué pasa, señor? I want to just go over real quick. We can jump back to what we were talking about with the ambiguous, crazy attitude that I'm forgetting the
Mr. Hogue.
Mr. Hogue was.
I do want to remind you that I am leaving Ottawa and driving to Toronto today, so we do have to end the show a little bit early today.
That's okay. I'll make this real quick. You can see here, guys, the market is selling off. Like when Mr. Trump said, "Hey, knock that crap off." Boom. With the pushing of the market, you saw the sell-off, and then we're kind of consolidating. So we're playing off of this 64 area here, but you can see we see more seller wicks than buyer wicks. You see the bigger wicks on top. So again, I expect it to sell off even further down into next month, and we'll probably see it come back up into the previous month. But I think this low of 55.12 for crude oil should come back down there and then consolidate and then continue back up to around that 55.65. I might have to give up on the lower end of that 44 area here, but we'll see what happens into next month. All right, my friend, that was in a nutshell. Speaking of Mr. Ho, the idea behind, one thing I gotta admit, and this is actually kind of cool, when it comes to a Republican and many Democrats who've gone over to the dark side, literally acknowledge that this idea that a lot of the Republicans say, you know, okay, that's your view. All right, cool. Well, this is my view. And there's not this screaming, shouting match where somebody is being kicked out of the family and you're being excommunicated, excommunicado, and you know, it's like there's like, all right, I think you're stupid. All right, I think you're stupid. Okay, that's it, right? And there's not okay, I'm gonna go beat up your car and tag it and all this other craziness. It's like, all right, I'll see you at work tomorrow. Peace, right? So it's almost this. You know, that's been said multiple times, and many Democrats, even on the show All In podcast, make it very clear. Like, dude, that far left, yeah, I gotta remember. So far left here is absolutely nuts, dude. And so they've come over more as a centralist Republican now because it's like them nut jobs over there are too crazy. So it's real interesting to see. All right. A
shout out to Comet Scribbles. Comet watching the show here gives David Hogg the big thumbs down. Comet is a longtime DYOR fan from way back in the day, from 2021 or so, and has a nice YouTube channel himself, reviewing coins and stuff like that. Well, he used to spend a lot of time doing that until he had like 45 kids, and so now he's been mostly a family man and a working man. But thanks, Comet, for watching the show. Really appreciate it.
Brother. Most definitely, man. Good to have you, man. Dude, we should bring him on sometime just to have him hang out.
He's not a doxed person.
God. Yeah. Well, maybe we're about to.
Well, maybe he could have it on voice, but
yeah, we could do a meme coin voice day. Speaking of that, so let's go ahead. You were finishing up, and then I jumped in.
I don't remember what I was talking about, Pedro.
You were talking about, I believe, the decorum.
Oh, right. I just wanted to finish up. What I predict is, as you see Mr. Trump getting more into his term and towards the end of it, you know, first of all, he'll be 83 when his term ends, and generally people, as the pressure comes off for elections, for this type of stuff, they chill. You know, just like old people, they generally get older and chill because they're like, what else am I going to do? Nothing, might as well chill. And that'll be the point when the Democratic Party needs to be professional, and then I bet you they get things done together. But what's happening is that they're all turning activists, and during the elections, it's very possible that a bunch of new activists will get elected to office. I'm not saying in a change of, you know, one party will take over from the other or anything like that. I mean, some people are going to retire, they'll have new people. And I bet you more activists get elected by the Democratic Party. And they're going to come in kicking and screaming and bitching and moaning and complaining. And nobody cares about that, Pedro, in politics. In politics, I should say in Congress. In Congress, they want to know, what can we get done to go back and tell our constituents that we did something good so we can get elected again. That's what they want. That's the only thing they want. And generally, what's good for their constituents is good for the American people as a whole in the country. Not all the time, we know that. But so you're going to have people coming in 2 years, or in the elections in next year in 26, that will win, and they're going to be more like AOC, more of them, more complainers, more moaners. You know, David Hogg's probably recruiting his activist friends to run in certain districts, and they're not going to get anything done. And it's behavior like this that's why. They have to come in, okay, great, you're an activist, you got elected. Now you have to learn to become a politician. Mr. Trump had that big problem. He was elected in 2016. He had no idea how to become a politician. He just came in being his normal business self, and it bit him so hard that actually for him it was a good thing he lost the election. in 2000 to Mr. Biden. It gave him time. It gave him another 4 years of without having responsibility of learning. And then he came on here in this election, and he figured out. Now, obviously, he's done plenty of crazy stuff, but he got the right people. He got better people. He's got better policies. You know, this type of stuff. I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff people are going to yell at me about. Well, he's this, that, whatever. He learned a lot, and no matter how much you complain about the Republican Party, they're still trying to get stuff done that will help them back home. And that's not all these various social causes that the Democrats want to push. The Republicans are talking money. They're pushing back on the social causes because they're like, nobody cares about that in my district. We need to stop dedicating so much attention to it. We need to do this. We need to lower the budget. Even though they're raising the budget, they talk about lowering the budget. We need the strong defense. We need to stop all this crap overseas. We need to stop spending money through USAID and all these other blah, blah, blah. I can go on for ages. The point is that in 2 years, we're going to have a problem. And it's going to be even more divisive because people like Mr. Hogue are going to bring that mentality to the next elections. And it's just going to be a mess. Anyway, that's enough of that for now. I'll give us 15 more minutes before I've got Mrs. Striking running around here preparing, and I'm not fully prepared to go either.
She's like, "Where you going? Let's go."
Right, exactly.
MLG.
But as I was talking about, the market it didn't go up to 109,000 here auto magically. It's starting to pull back a little, and the volume is still low. I mean, I'm on the 15-minute chart, and volume is still way down. I mean,
like I said, it's a hit and miss sometimes, especially when it comes down to the squishiness of the market. It's always difficult in low volume, man. Like low volume, every trade will tell you sucks. Like you're like, let's go, man. Like, what's up? What is it? You don't like me? You don't like me? What is that? What, you know? You start to wonder if what your mom said about you as a kid is true. You know, like, that's horrible. I was watching a small little documentary, like 30-minute documentary of Sylvester Stallone. I guess his mom was just ruthless on him, and I was like, "Dang, dog," you know, like it's just like I'm to the point where like she just didn't even care about him whether he lived or died as he was growing up. Like you're like, dang, and then he gets famous, and she's like, "I'm the reason why he is." Like,
right, that's right.
And he's just like, he just basically said, all right, whatever.
He's famous because he developed that way of speaking that fit right into his early character of Rocky and made an awesome movie. That's why he's famous. He pushed it. The story of him making that movie is fantastic. He pushed it. He went. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. But he pitched that movie for ages, and to the point where he basically living out of his car, and came back. Finally got someone to do it, and it turned out to be the franchise of the century here. That movie, Yo Adrian, and it's great. And even his that same kind of character that he's played so well over the years in his current show, The King of Tulsa. That show is a low budget, show about a mafia guy that gets kicked out of the New York area after getting out of jail, and sent out to run the organization in Tulsa, Oklahoma, meant as like, here's your thing, go away, and never talk to us again. But he gets there and he's like, oh, this town is prime and ready to be pillaged and raped financially, and the antics are hilarious. Anyway, but he's that same the jaw hanging out and stuff like that. Great. I respect Sly Stallone so much for what he's accomplished and how he started. It's amazing. Another great example of put your mind to it, do it well, and eventually you'll reap the rewards for it. Just as I'm trying to do here with, let me rephrase that. Just as I am doing here with learning day trading.
As well as just building this network, right? We've got
and these guns, man. Woo!
Yeah, the media network here. We show up every day. We try to give great content with crypto as well as traditional finance, giving you guys the heads up what's going on. And our goal is really, I mean, it sounds crazy, but hopefully in 10, 15 years, me and Tom are sitting on something that is a pretty epic system, right, Tom?
Absolutely. Weird noise. It's not coming from our apartment. Anyway, you're absolutely right, Pedro. Hopefully this will play out nicely, and the dedication and effort will. But the dedication and effort of all of the people watching us on Rumble and X, thank you very much. You YouTube people, well, there's not many of you. Our normal YouTube commenters aren't even here today. Crypto Mike, where are you? Sucker Free City, where are you hanging out at?
I wonder if literally, because those guys, as soon as it gets notified, we typically see Jesus come in and we crack up, we have a good time. So it's kind of shocking that they're not here. It's like you said, I really now think that YouTube is literally going through and like shutting it down. Like it just.
I can tell you, I've watched. Yeah. I went and watched, Pedro, a bunch of the YouTube creator videos that talk about this, that have had employees from YouTube on, and they come right out and they say, no, well, the algorithm doesn't do that. You know, maybe they're not saying anything in which we talk about crypto we're intentionally derating, but they say that if your channel decreases in viewership, it's because the people that traditionally watch it, their interests have moved, because they said we serve it to them, but they don't watch it. So if they don't watch it a couple of times in a row, we stop serving it to them as often. So they say it's your content is not being liked by them. But then you have the other thing over on Rumble. Our content is liked, and it's a very similar crowd, obviously. Everyone on Rumble ended up there from YouTube. So thank you to everyone on Rumble for being good to us here and getting our numbers up so we can read an ad. And I was hoping to get one more ad in today, but I don't think they're going to serve it to us, because the next one needs 25 people.
Well, if you guys could help us out over there on Rumble, go through. If you could just send up or hit the like and share button, and when you share, just click on that link. That's all we ask. That really helps us out immensely, and it really does push our channel on Rumble. Well, it really does. So
it certainly does. Certainly does.
Yeah, if you could, that would help. But let's go ahead. We've got some of these meme coins here. I want to kind of go over here real quick and see how they're doing. I'm going to cut through them quickly, so it will make it simpler for you guys to sit there and see. And then from there, we can finish off the market with a quick little wrap up of Bitcoin and call it a week.
Call it a week, yes, a very successful one. All right, what's first on the land of meme coins?
Yeah, so I know a lot of us have talked about just like the market and what we see. Right now, these coins are all ranging from basically 10, 15 million to about 100 million. Some of them are a little bit above, but they're still micro and mid cap. I wouldn't even call them micro and small cap coins, right? And again, I really think that as we come into July and into August, these will explode. And so I think it's not ones that are under 1 million and still in the hundreds of thousands, which you can get some, but those are harder to gauge because they don't really have a huge community. It's the ones that are sitting around 10, 50, 100 mil and above, where you start to have an established community where people go through. And I think that's where the money's going to flow through in this next altcoin season as we push up. So first one we're going to check out is going to be Popcat, which has a pretty solid community. And you can see here that the market, we talked about that 8-period moving average, also in the supply wig pushing the rest of this market down. And so you can see here that you can see the weekly, we talked about it playing off of here and coming down to our low level of that 72 mil area as a potential buy area as it continues down, consolidating. I like it there. On the next one, here we go. Where's my watch list meme coin?
Popcat, it's still a respectable $250 million market cap, I might add, and $37 million traded today.
Why did it do that? And I just did all that work for nothing. That makes me mad.
Did you have a big list ready to go and it forgot it?
Nope. I just messed it all up. I'm gonna have to switch all these later. Oh, I just realized. Okay, so all right, cool. All right, so we got the Major League on Solana. A lot of these are Solana coins because it's easier to get in and get out of the Solana market here. It's cheaper. We talked about us hitting this 20 period moving average again, coming down to that 0054 area to the 0039 area here, and so it's still starting to come down as we're continuing it here. With the FWOG is sitting at these lower levels again. What we were expecting, you can see here that it is coming back down to this area of that 12 million to 9 million area. This was for FWOG, so we're seeing the continuation coming in, and it's starting to bounce off of that weekly 8. So we can see here that it tried to push up, but most likely it's going to come back down into that lower level here.
What the hell does FWOG stand for?
I do not know. It's got a giant community though.
$38 million coin, used to be a lot higher than that, but still respectable. $38 million coin with $4 million in traded volume. Pedro, there's a lot of tokens out there that are $38 million in market cap that get, $5,000 a day or 10.
Yep.
Or maybe even only 100,000. Yet FWOG's got 4 million, so it's still quite the liquid thing
market.
there.
This is why am I forgetting what it's called? With hat. This is Dog with Hat, and again, this is another major coin. It's sitting at around that 758 million market cap. Like I said, I expect it to come back down to that 417 million, and potentially where I'm hoping we're going to see it play off of this 250 million area. And if this all-time high here was to kick in, we're sitting at a 5 billion, if not higher. So that is one of those ones that you could really, really take advantage of if this really starts to send over this next altcoin season. And one of these will most likely be like the next Shiba Inu. So again, I tell everybody, put in a small amount of money, $5, $10, $15, $20. Don't bet the house on this, like that guy talked about.
Right. Don't bet your house.
Literally. So just go through, put a small amount of money. If we start to see some pickup and some big volume, throw a little bit of money so you can continue the increase. But ultimately, this is potentially long-term plays, but we will be taking profit at all-time highs if they reach it. Okay, so here we go.
But I got to tell you, it's like I said, it's in the past token, the volume here is unbelievable. $277 million traded in Dog with Hat in the past 24 hours on a $764 million project, and it's at its lows here. I mean, not all the way at its lows, but it's way down over its highs. That's a lot of money, which means it's liquid, which means small good news. A couple of traders get optimistic, and it ticks up just at the right time, and boom, and all of a sudden it's a $2 billion market cap. That's a big change. It's a lot of money into that.
It's a big deal. So the liquidity is as much as important as the lower part. So this lower part will definitely trigger people to buy in. Let's go into Chill Guy here real quick. Chill Guy, again, has a huge community. It's kind of new to the industry as of right now, right? It's only been around for about 7 months. But the key part behind this is that it has a huge liquidity base, and it's sitting around that 45 million right now. I expect it to come back down to that 26 million to 19 million area as we continue down, and then see it pop up. So it's still doing what we said it was going to do. Next one is
hey, Pedro, I've got to. I keep having to say this because I'm still surprised every time the great graphics machine shows it. For Chill Guy, $10 million in 24-hour volume on a $45 million market cap. It's trading 1/4 of its market cap every day, and it's at its lows. I mean, these are all candidates. And this is purely speculation and opinion on my part, obviously. But all of these are candidates to boom if things turn around, just as you say. And with that kind of, I mean, if they get that kind of volume and it prices at its lows.
Yes. And imagine this, right now you have an equal amount of buyers and sellers. It's kind of equal. But once that turns around and all of a sudden we see it go, instead of buy, sell, and sell, buy, equaling itself out. And once everything goes to bid, ask, and then all of a sudden this thing goes into hyperbolic,
price discovery, boom.
Yeah, and this is the key part, is that I don't know which one of these are going to be, but I'm looking for all the top communities of all the coins that are in the small, the small to mid range for micro to small cap, because I expect one of these to be stupid. And so we'll see what happens, but this altcoin season is coming up, and we've been preparing, and I've been talking about this stuff for a while, so I want you guys to know this stuff and be prepared for it. And if you have any questions on how to get in on these, please, Tom, me and you need to sit down and just do a video of how you get into DeFi, meaning put your money to an exchange, once your exchange goes into an actual wallet, whether it be Solana or whatever wallet, but then from there, this is how you buy a coin on a decentralized exchange, and then from there, how you secure your wallet. And we need to do that. And we need to figure out time to do that so we can help out our viewers here over on Rumble, many of the other places who don't necessarily know and understand.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Right. So next one. So we talked about Chill Guy here.
I put a timer in the studio link, by the way.
I know. I am trying my best, but you keep talking. Be quiet. I love you. Please. I'm trying to get this done. And I mean it in all respect. Because I really respect you. Okay. We have Peanut. Peanut is following what we talked about. We said this week I expected to go down. It's playing off the weekly chart here. It's very similar to a lot of the other ones. I'm still expecting Chill Guy to get down to that 139
Peanut?
or one. Yeah, excuse me. Peanut to get down to the 139 and 165 to 27 area. So it looks something like this, boom, and then potentially explode like that. So I do think we'll probably hit there at that other level. But if not, I'd just be ready to throw a little bit of cash in this one and a little bit of cash in here. What is the daily volume on this real quick?
I'm about to tell you as it comes up here. The daily volume is, this one is for some reason slow here. I'll just read it from the spreadsheet instead. There it is. Daily volume's 82 million on a $200 million market cap.
There you go. It's just the numbers are as staggering. It's staggering.
That is staggering. This thing can move quickly on good news or good momentum or whatever the instigator is. A car hits a squirrel on the street and the thing will pump $100 million.
Yeah, so again, I expect these to really hit hard, and I some of these I expect to hit all-time highs. Some of these I expect to basically go much further than all-time highs, but a lot of them I expect, because this is where the money is going to be made by a lot of the institutions when this altcoin season really starts to pick up. So you can see here, I like that lower level though, that 65,000, but just dollar cost average in from here to $5-6, maybe $10, and this here maybe $10 as well. All right, next one, Ponky.
I don't have Ponky in the machine. That's weird.
I'm gonna send it to you for the.
No. I thought I had it as one of my presets.
Oh man, my back.
Mine's killing me too. I woke up this morning feeling I got hit by a truck.
Oh wow, did you drink last night or no?
No, not from that. Just I've been up late. I haven't gotten enough sleep. And so today I said I was not setting an alarm. Wasn't going to get up for the morning session or trade today. And so I said I'm going to sleep in. Woke up at 9.
Your dopamine hit. It was time to get up.
No, I woke up at 9 like I was in a coma. Like I came out of an 11-year coma, like Steven Seagal movie. Like arms didn't work. Back. I was like, did I sleep for 40 years? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ponky ruling it too, man.
Yes. So you can see Ponky, I'm expecting, we talked about the seller wick here, potentially coming up to the 8 period moving average and selling off. We saw the continuation of it going down, right? So remember, next month, which is when I really do expect to see some real movement coming in for the altcoin season, coming in, dropping down first, hitting that 18 milli area to the 11 milli area, and then potentially seeing it get all the way back up to that 700,000, 800,000 area, if not further. So these are the ones that I'm looking at right now. I'm still looking at a few other ones that we're probably going to bring on here, but ultimately, oh, I forgot Farcoin. Sorry.
Fartcoin. No, you idiot. I said dart gun, not fart gun. That was one of the Minions movies.
I was thinking it was Austin Powers.
No, it was the doctor or the evil Groot talking to his henchman there who made him a fart gun, and it really smelled badly apparently, and instead of a dart gun, he misunderstood him.
Bro, Fartcoin literally has a stable coin. That's crazy. All right, 4 million. I think this is it. Just to make sure. This one is showing major strength as well. Here we go. Price. I thought I had done this one.
That's right. If you don't have it set up, we got to roll. Just finish up with BTC.
Yeah, so I hit up BTC here. So this is what I expect to see what's going on with BTC as we finish up. There are a few things that, like I've said, one is that I expect to see BTC come back down to these lower levels here. So I have a large, you can see here is my big purple line. You can see what I expect to see the next leg up. We're stalling out on this leg first, so I think next month we'll see it come back down, touch these lower levels of that 80,000 to 100,000 area. And the key is if we see it go down first, that's a good sign. So don't get freaked out thinking the market is falling apart.
Well, it's going down right now. It's giving back all its gains from today, as I expected in the afternoon. It's going to have a sell-off.
So next month, expect us to open up here, go down, tap the lower levels here, down into that 97, potentially 80,000 area down here. If not, then it's off to the races into next month. But expect that demand wick to really kick in, and so see what's happening. Now, this all could be, unfortunately, just hot air if the housing market starts to really dampen and see things fall apart. Again, I do think money will flow into crypto. I think if Trump's laws get passed into the big beautiful bill and we see taxes, right, with things that used to go to taxes on tips, Social Security, and overtime, if those get eliminated, people will have a lot more extra money. We're talking up to 30% of all servers will make more than 25 to 30% extra in their pocket. That's a big deal on a monthly base. Okay, where's that money going to go? Most likely some into crypto, right? There's a lot of laws being passed for crypto. Once all that stuff really starts to get to mainstream, we should expect that. The biggest key though is if we see the housing market really starts to fall apart, there might not be jobs to be used. So just be ready for that. And we're going to be covering that quite a lot more next week, because as things start to speed up in relationship to what we're seeing with the crypto market, we're also seeing other potential storms on the horizon through the housing market. So we'll be paying attention to that.
It's a good week, Pedro.
Yeah, I feel like the same thing.
Very good week. Had good stats this week at the show. The Rumble came through. We got back in the Rumble Creator Program. We've been reading some good ads. The viewership, the return on investment is coming back to us. And as you said, doesn't matter what the number actually is right now, but the fact that it's growing is the important part, which it is. And so that's not just because of Pedro and I's efforts. That's because of all of you people that watch this show and interact with us. Thank you very much for that. Next week starts a holiday week, and so Pedro and I will gonna have to coordinate our schedules here to make sure we're on as much as we can. And also, I have a birthday coming up also. So
Tom's going out to get smashed.
No, I don't do that on the birthday anymore. But I do have a nice steak dinner and suffer the consequences of that. And now that I'm in taking better care of myself health-wise, gluttony and getting smashed brings up too much pain and suffering. So, but I might enjoy a little bourbon though.
Yeah. What's your flavor on your bourbon?
Actually, you know what? There are in Ontario here. They banned U.S. imports of bourbon a couple of months ago, so everywhere's finally run out. And Mrs. Striking and I have gotten some suggestions about local ones, and there's been some pretty good local ones here, made in the bourbon manner. They can't call it bourbon. And one in a town close by called Perth. The bourbon's called Top Shelf Distillery. And then one here, like it was a distillery right next to where I went to lunch every day for 2 years. I never knew it was there. It's called North of 7. I think their original location was north of Route 7 here. Delicious stuff. But it's not, neither of these are things you can make an old fashioned with and mix with other things. They're sipping whiskeys. And they didn't last very long.
That's awesome.
Anyway, but
thank you guys.
Once again, people on Rumble, you're our largest crew here today. Thank you very much. Thanks to Chris Pavlovsky and everyone else at Rumble for their efforts in helping promote us by putting us on the crypto homepage yesterday on the front page of Rumble. Thank you very much. We'll take all the exposure we can get, and we'll ask for more. But as I always say, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So proud to have hosted another great episode of the show. The man in the box next to me is Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, and Pedro Damas de Jour. We will see you guys next week.